Do we think we could be heading for a potential lockout with the elbow injuries and the umps not being able to ump properly? Do you think the players union will lock out until these issues get fixed?
Well, they would strike. The lockout comes from the owners, right? So the
Well,
owners would lock the players out, or the
okay,
players would go on a
right,
strike.
right.
But yeah.
Okay, so strike.
I mean, anything's possible. I mean, I could see it. I think the pitchers are very vocal now about the injuries that are popping up. Like it's the big ones that we're seeing now, right? Like Glass now is being outspoken. Kenley Jansen came out last night. Those are kind of two high profile pitchers in the league, but I think it's probably safe to say that those guys are speaking for a lot of pitchers. I could see it. I could definitely see it. I could see them getting to the end of this. Like I think if I looked it up earlier, I think it's 2026
Yeah,
when this one's up.
you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, if we continue to see this through 2024 and then into 2025, and we're continuing to see these like season-ending injury type of things popping up, then I could definitely see the players' union just being like, we aren't signing the next one until we make a change. Like the league's got to make a change. You got to protect us. The players have to be protected. That should be the number one priority. Is the players that are performing on TV and putting asses in the seats and paying for the TV deal. Like the players have to be protected. We have to feel like we're going out and we're going to be safe, and we're not going to have seasons that are kind of cut out at the knees. I think that's a very valid argument that the players could certainly bring to them. I think the umpire thing would be less of a reason. I think that would be a fun one to argue, but I don't know how much they would have to be able to stand on. But definitely the injuries I could definitely see.
Yeah, I think baseball's at a crossroads and they got a few big decisions to make. I think the first one is, what are you going to do about the schedule? Are you going to keep the 162? Or are you going to add to the playoffs? What are you going to do? Because you can't keep adding to the playoffs and not shortening the season. So I think that MLB's got to decide what they're going to do with the season. Number one. Number two is, does the pitch clock stick around? And if it does, what does its final form look like? I think the third one is, are we going to bring the ABS system to the big leagues? If we're not going to fix the umpire issue, we at least need to bring the ABS system in, because we've got to get that sorted out. We can't continue to just let this happen. And I think the fourth decision they're going to make is roster size. With these pitchers throwing like they do and getting hurt like they do and chewing up bullpens like you do, you went from 25 to 26 man. You might need to go to like a 28 man roster. You've got too many bullpen guys that are coming out night after night because you have to fill 4 innings every single night. They may need to consider offering some flexibility and the ability to add to that roster and carry some depth, because we're seeing with the Red Sox right now, a couple injuries, there's no depth. And that's position players. Now you got pitching injuries. You're bringing guys from the minors. Like, you need to be able to have some buffer there, because you've got too many guys going out too often to throw. And I think they got to resolve those issues. Craig's like, the DH needs to go. And I think that falls into that another bucket of, do we like the universal DH? I don't know what the feeling around baseball is, but the game's changed and they got to decide how they're going to handle it. I've heard people talking about they want to see them lower the mound again. There's a lot of things that are being kicked around the league right now.
The DH isn't going anywhere. It's not.
It adds offense.
Offense is up, but the DH isn't going anywhere. I do miss seeing pitchers hit until, my Diamondbacks got up with their relief pitcher with the bases loaded to end the game. Like, then I don't like seeing pitchers hit. But yeah, I don't know. Something will have to happen at some point. There's going to be nobody left to throw a baseball.
Right.
It's what it's going to come down to. Like, there's going to be a team out there be like, we got nobody left in our organization. Like, they're all on the shelf at Tommy John.
Well, that's like the poor guy from the Tigers, the third baseman who had to come in and pitch the other night. He boots a ball, gives up 3 runs in extra innings. They threw him on the mound thank you. Then they threw him on the mound to finish it because they're like, forget it, this game's. And I do think extra innings has become a bit of a crapshoot. And you got a lot of managers who've been. I think AJ Hinch came out and he was kind of barking about it last night. A couple nights before that, Aaron Boone was barking about it. I don't think they love the extra innings rules either. Because it's one of those things where if you don't, like, the sense, AJ Hinch basically made the comment, if you don't score on the top of the 10th, you don't win this game. Like, we've got one shot and one shot only. Yeah. We can't play strategy. We have to play for the right now.
Yeah.
Take it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
That's hard though, because I think it was largely put in for player safety and for,
Yep.
we talked about how, we don't necessarily have really big rosters. So, we were consistently before that extra inning rule, and I didn't like it at first, and it's kind of grown on me. Like, it is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, I don't hate
we
it.
we were consistently seeing regular season games going 13, 14, 15 innings.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean,
It's a lot.
so you're either, God forbid you have back-to-back nights that go 13 innings, 14 innings. I mean, that is an absolute killer for a bullpen.
Yep.
It's so I get why they did it. I don't think that is going to go away anytime soon. I also get why managers don't like it, because it's like you're kind of taking the job out of my hands. Like, that's my job. That's what I get paid to do, to figure out kind of the chess pieces and the moves on the chessboard to figure out how we're going to win this game in extra innings. And you're kind of taking that out of my hands. So I get why managers don't like it, but I totally understand the basis of it though. Like, I get why they do it. I'd be surprised if they go away from it. I mean, what is it that what does he want to go back to, like, before kind of the starting on second kind of thing?
There's a group of managers, I think, out there. I think there's a group of baseball people out there that are like, it should just be a regular inning. Like, why don't we just start the 10th like we start any other inning? And then you end up with 15, 16, 18 inning games, and it's a mess. But it's 1 o'clock in the morning before the game ends, and the guys are exhausted coming back out the next day. And I mean, I get why they did it, and I actually don't hate the extra inning rule, but it 100% changes how you manage the 10th inning, because it's, most of these games end in the 10th. Somebody scores. You're talking ground ball to the right side, sac fly, game over. Like, that's all you got to do, because you're already starting off with a guy in scoring position.
And maybe it's a change where it's like, you know what, the 10th and 11th, you give them clean bases. And then if nobody scores in those 2 innings, top of the 12th, okay, it's time for a runner on second.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's
something
progressive.
like that. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. I think there's a group that don't like it, because I think Sean nailed it. Like, the strategy's gone. Now it's just, hey, get a hit.
Yeah.
Just, we need one hit.
Well, there is still a little bit of strategy, right?
Some.
Like, it's, it's not quite as simple as like bunt the guy over, sac fly. You bunt a guy over, you get 1 out, you walk the next guy, now double plays in order.
Yep.
So there is a little bit of strategy that goes along to it, but for the most part, it's not there.
Essentially, you're taking the advantage of being the home team right out of it too. The visiting team comes up, they score a run. Now the home team's got to score 2 to win the game.
Right.
So, the way the guy manages it in the top is way different than how you manage it in the bottom. So
for sure,
I agree.
For sure.